will, since there's no way for us to really consolidate, I will email a Google form of some kind to both classes and say something to the effect, if you teach in IB and are willing to form some kind of collaborative group, sign up or something. I'll figure it out. But
Thank you.
yeah, so we can do that for you. Yeah. Neri?
Oh, yes. I have a question to Desi, if she doesn't mind, because her research study is similar to mine, because my study is the effectiveness of online learning among English language learners. My question is, do you suggest to do online survey before the capstone, or because it's kind of, I don't have any connections with schools and I don't teach, so it's kind of something difficult for me to send surveys. Do you have a specific platform to create your online surveys, and what are the reactions from the students, teachers, or you suggest that also parents, you involved parents? I only involve teachers and students. So what are your suggestions?
Well, it depends again to your intentions on how finding the data for the results. But I did it right after I make the proposal in the 52070. So after the draft is after Unit 8, when it's already being approved by the instructor in that time, I already start creating the questions and start distributing the survey. And well, actually, my school gives scholarships so for some teachers to join University of People. So we know that there will be this kind of research, and teachers quite welcome about it. And for the parents, well, because of the pandemic, we quite often meet online can be once in a week or twice in a week, and I inform about this, and because my research topic is quite interesting for them, the impact of online learning on character building, which the parents realize that indeed it impact. So for example, that's from the teacher's perspective, we cannot see the impact because we didn't see the impact on the students' character building because we didn't meet them in that time when I doing the survey. But then the parents see the evidence because they become the teachers at home, and they see that, well, at school previously, the teachers say that my child can follow the instruction well, submit the task well, but at home, no, it's not what happens. So. But then months after this year, when we finally can have an offline learning, I seen the evidence myself that indeed the students' impact, their character are changing. They have difficulties in having concentration at school because they get used to attached to the handphone, for instance. Things like that. And for example, I found that from the perspective of the teachers, the character building still the same because the students still remember the learner profile terminologies. They know what they have to do to show that they are caring, principled, risk takers. But then the parents said, yes, they know that, but they didn't do that at home. Okay, they might do that in front of you, but didn't do it at home. So that's the one that finally I put it, I think, in my conclusion that the impact, they do actually still remember that, but that because maybe they are grade 5, so they already learned about the IB learner profile years before, so they still having it. But then the problem is that in the reality, the character building are really strongly impacted. So that's what happened. I doing the survey and questionnaires along the way actually. And this course when I compile all those data.
Okay, so I must do it before the capstone. You suggest that I can prepare them before I reach to the capstone course.
If possible, but along the way you can do that as well. For example, then I realized I didn't complete the survey, then I continue the survey.
So I'm going to chime in two things. Ahmed, I know it is like after midnight for you, and
Yeah, that's
so I'm
fine.
going to put out there, I'm still recording. You're welcome to stay, but I don't want you to feel like you need to. Secondly,
I'm okay, thank you.
okay. So Neri, I had one or two students last term and one this term that have no connection to school. They're not teaching. Tomoko didn't even have kids. So what they all did, just got very prepared. So you take your info, and you'll learn about this in 5470. And so you don't want to start collecting data now. Like you don't know anything about it, right? So you get your informed consent and you know it well. You get your survey questions that you're going to ask. You line out everything when you go, and you go to a principal and say, I am a master's student conducting a study. If you're confident and you know what you're doing, that principal will more than likely allow you to use their school. Now, it just depends on the climate of the school, because somebody's school last term, she taught there, only 2 teachers participate. It's like, come on, y'all. But it was a limitation, and that's okay. But if you go to a school, the neighborhood school, and you tell that principal what you're doing, I think they will be welcome, especially if you've got your informed consent, and you can let them know it's safe. I have approval from my instructor. We don't have an internal review board at UO People. But so your instructor has to approve your informed consent and your questions and your research plan. So if you go to the principal and say, my university has signed off on this, I think they'll be willing to let you, talk to the students, and, engaging the parents is also, they're a stakeholder in their child. So it depends on what your study is, if it's, do IB principals help reading achievement? Maybe I don't know if the parents are stakeholders or not, but so.
I only have just one concern, because during the COVID, the schools closed for a small period for 3-4 months, and the students took classes only once a week, English courses, online English courses. So I am doubting that since there is no interaction online through English online courses, maybe my results or this online service will not be effective.
So that's where you say, for purposes of my study, I'm going to do something else. Because if you can't get any data to analyze, you're not being helped. So you might have to come up with something else. But you've got some time, and your whatever the class is right before 54, 70, 58, whatever, will help you too. So don't get stressed out about that. You'll have a solution. I know. Now, Carol, I just realized for you, is it almost 1 o'clock in the morning in India? 10? You're
10. It's good. It's 9:45.
Oh, 9:30. Okay, ding dong. Okay, so you're all right. So Chipo, you had your hand up for a long time. What you got?
So I wanted to comment on the meetings, when you were talking about the meetings, and I want to say, please continue. I did not attend any of the meetings, but I think this whole research thing is a mental game, and I really felt it felt good to know that even though I couldn't come to the meetings, they were there. They were there if I needed them. And then being able to access some of your videos as well on YouTube was helpful. So it certainly has been helpful, even for me who hasn't been attending. So
okay, good. Okay.
Much of a plus it was. The next thing for me is I'm in the now what phase, because I'm getting to the end, and I've had such a great time with all these courses. The research, I love research, the same as you. And I'm in the, okay, what am I going to do with myself? Now what? And some of the questions or things I've been wondering about is publishing. There was no mention of that in any of the courses that I did. I certainly felt that that is a real gap, because I don't want to be generating data for nothing. I don't want to be like, I want other people to fall in love with what I'm falling in love with as I'm doing my research. So that was, yeah, I'm feeling antsy and a little bit anxious about finishing, which is crazy because it took me a while to start.
Yeah, so I have tried to get published 4 times. It's hard, and that's why it's a big deal. So what I just keep doing, you know, both of my articles are great. You know, it's good information, but you can be rejected because you didn't follow APA 100%. They don't tell you why you got rejected. They're just like, thank you, we're not going to consider your article at this time. You're like, geez. And then I go back in, I'm like, oh, shoot, it's because, you know, my reference was wrong or not formatted correctly. And that could very well have been the reason, because they're not going to fix anything for you. So the thing about publishing, you just keep trying. And there are hundreds of journals. You just have to find the one that is aligned with whatever your topic is. So, you know, one of my articles is on departmentalization versus self-contained elementary classrooms. So I'm not going to submit that to Chronicle of Higher Ed because they don't care about it, right? So that's, you know, so I don't have a secret for getting published. Many of the UO people, instructors are published, but unfortunately, right now, I cannot offer any guidance other than if you want to publish, if you want to study. Hello, Eliada. Eliada's from 5010 2 or 3 terms ago. I don't know. So anyway, just with publishing, I think you just keep trying. But if you want to do it, then by gosh, yeah, you go do that. And, you know, and as far as the data collected, great. Nobody cares about it. Somebody's going to care about it, and you care about it, and you can always share it with your colleagues. You know, that's one thing I talk about in 5270 is, you know, is this something that you can share with your principal and maybe get up and do a 15, 20-minute training at a faculty meeting? So data is always good to, you know, good to have, but I do get it. You know, it's a lot of work. So just keep trying.
Can I use material that I would have, like, can I use, for example, the research project and develop that further?
So you have to wait 2 years. And the reason for that is we don't want incoming capstone students to find your research and use it because it's so fresh, right? It's still going to be viable. Because if you wait 2 years, if you do COVID 2 years from now, you're not gonna, you know, you're gonna be like, I think you found this study online, right? So you do have to wait 2 years to use anything that you published in your research paper in another study. So you can't use it for 2 years.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Now, for those of you who are still interested, and I'm not going to be offended if you go like, peace out, you know, or peace out. If you want to see some Evernote from the 5910, there were some really good examples. But, you know, it's totally up to you. And again, I'm fine. I'm 11:20 in the morning. So I don't know. I put it out there. 5910, I guess I would say, are you willing to stay on and share your Evernote? If not, that's okay. So yes, okay. So 5270, if you would like to see some stellar Evernote, Eliada, I don't know what yours looks like. You're probably more like a 5270 to see what's out there and how they've arranged theirs.
Yeah, there is, please.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, just the point of arrange the Evernote, because I have the Evernote currently. I just have like 4 or 5 assignments when I open it from like 2 courses when I started. Like last year, only just 2 assignments. I don't know how.
Which is why I do this. Yep.
It's like removing the dust.
Yeah, because you get to 5910 or 5470, maybe, I don't know, and you're like, 5910, you have to show it to me. And I know there are people who scramble because I could see the modified dates. And it's like, hey, so I want this thing to be useful. So yeah, I don't know, whoever wants to go first, 5910, you should be able to share as a guest. Now, Chibo, do you still have a question, or is your hand just up?
Sorry.
That's okay. Okay,
Yeah.
Maria, you want?
Mine have just been, hello everybody. I've just been like, if I see something that I like, then I just sink it into the course. I have not had time to really then go in and organize things. I've just been saying, okay, this is 5240. I'm doing, and I like this, so I just pull it down there. Yeah, but I think it gives me comfort to know that I've pulled something into it that I can then refer to. But at some point, I will make time to organize it.
There's always
maybe,
tomorrow.
Get help. Yeah.
Okay, so all right. Okay, so Maria, you want to share yours?
Okay,
Sure.
so before I begin, I think we mentioned this at the start. It's really important that you keep all of your written assignments and that you label them correctly and that you date them correctly, because when the time comes to submit your portfolio, and actually you should be building your portfolio from day one. So that way, when you are at that point to submit your portfolio, it's basically just making sure that everything is clean, that your dates are perfectly formatted and the course names are perfectly, basically just making sure everything looks beautiful. Otherwise, if you have not labeled things correctly or categorized things correctly, you're going to find yourself scrambling all over the place. So that's the best advice I can give anyone who's starting to build their portfolio. Now, okay, so I will go ahead and share my portfolio. This is my first time using Teams, so
okay. So do you know what you're doing? So you click the
share.
The little up arrow, and then just share screen. Yeah. Okay. So while she's doing that, I will say that the other thing about Evernote, it's intended to follow you. That's really why we do that whole rigmarole of looking at your portfolio, because we want you to understand the value of it, not just for the assignment, although, it's 20% or whatever, but, because when you leave here, you're cut off. I'm trying to find out what access you still have to the library, and I have yet to, crack that code, but certainly you won't have the access that you've had, and you can also, so that could have been something Ahmed did, something, if you're going out to apply for a job, share it with, hey, here's shared my portfolio, and then they go, wow, they teaching philosophy, he really cares. The other thing, you can share it with your colleagues if you got, a good solid collaborative team, share it with them. They can put in, well, actually, I don't think you'd have to get Medit, but anyway, you could share it with them. So, it's not only you have an assignment coming up, and the thing about the labeling, that's what I liked about most of these is, I would not recommend you label them by course number, because then you have to go, man, what course was that in when I found that really cool resource? So anyway, I'm going to turn it over to
okay,
Maria?
Can you see it? Yes, can you see my portfolio?
Yeah, good job.
Is that me? Okay. Okay. So I recently just made an edit to my teaching philosophy section within my portfolio, which is why it's all the way at the top, because usually my table of contents is at the top. And that's usually what whoever's looking at my portfolio sees, and it gives you a rundown in terms of what is within my portfolio. If you look at the portfolio guidelines, they usually give you an outline of how you should arrange your portfolio. I do know that other students have arranged their portfolio according to course, because they saved all of their documents within a course named folder. And of course, like Professor Wolf just said, they make sure you write out the entire name of the course, not the code, not the numerical name of the course. But anyway, so within my teaching philosophy section or cubby, I write out what my teaching philosophy is, and then I also included documents that basically support the development of my teaching philosophy. And so with the first artifact I put in here was one from course education and context history, philosophy, and sociology, and then I have the date and who my professor was, and then I included the actual document in here. And here at the bottom, I write, before I go in there, at the bottom I give a very, very brief, quick summary about what the document is, so that whoever's looking at my portfolio doesn't have to read through the through the document itself to figure out what it's about. So they know automatically what they're about to open. And then I also made sure that when I wrote out my artifacts, or when I inserted my artifacts, that it was chronological. So this is 620, 84, 721. And then, let me go back to my teaching philosophy. And let me slow down because I know I have a tendency to talk really fast. So here I have a simple Word document. And then for my second artifact here, I include a link, which is a brief 12-minute video. So you want to put different types of artifacts. You want to put documents, links, videos, audio, charts, pictures, things that fall within each cubby, but also are something that you've had, that it not only just benefited you during the course or when you found it, but you're going to find useful in the future as well. Because again, this is something that that's going to help you not just throughout your you have people experience, but overall, even when you graduate. I've noticed now I'm going back to my portfolio for I'm currently in America, and I'm trying to get my teaching license here in America, and so I'm going and reviewing through all of my my documents and basically just using it as a tool to help me study. But at the same time, it's also a great tool to use for prospective employers, because you're like, look, here are my teaching strategies, here's my teaching philosophy, which a lot of future employers ask for. But you have this tool that basically says, like, look what I can do. So here's the teaching philosophy, right?
Maria?
Yes.
I know you can't see hands up when you're sharing. So I want to compliment you on your reference formatting, that you're taking the time to do that, because what that would tell me as a principal is attention to detail. So you don't have to it's your portfolio. You don't have to put the exact APA reference, but you did. So again, to me, that points to someone who's careful and attention to detail. So yeah, I just had to interrupt for that. So good.
No, great, thank you. Actually, what helped me was the examples that we get within each course. So at the top, they give us the research example, the reflection example, and that's how I learned to to put my actual artifacts within my portfolio. I use that as a reference. But thank you, Professor. So again, going back to the portfolio, here I have my teaching philosophy, and then I go into subject matter content. And here I put an actual screenshot from one of my courses, and it was Creative Positive Classroom Environments, and I believe that was the first course I took at U of People. But not only that, if you notice here at the top, I have tags: disciplinary concepts, questions, structure, tools of inquiry. So whenever if someone wants to search for something specific within my my portfolio and they don't want to go through all of the cubbies, they could write in here, well, I want to know what her tools of inquiry are. So they'll write tools of inquiry.
Yeah, I want to applaud the use of tags. I just learned, so I've had Evernote since I started teaching here and did not know anything about tags until somebody talked about it last time. Is that what you're using as a tag?
Yes.
Yeah, love tags.
And here it comes out subject matter, and they'll be able to find out. They don't have to go through every single cubby, and they know they can find tools of inquiry within here. And I actually have it labeled as tools of inquiry. Now, this is an ongoing portfolio as well. This is something that you should be adding to even after you have people, right? Because this is also something that's going to, that it's a, what is it? A live document that's tracking your progress within your practice. And it's going to show who your principal, your foreign director, or whomever your supervisor is, how you're growing within your practice. And it's also a great tool for yourself as well to reflect as well in terms of where you are progressing or where you could progress more. So that's basically the basic elements within my portfolio. I can't see the main team screen, so if there's any questions, I'm more than happy to answer. Just go ahead and interject.
Hello, Maria.
Yes.
Let me just ask you. My Evernote is already started whenever I start UOP, so everything is there, but it's unlike your work. I mean, I have copy paste from Microsoft Word, my work from there, and put it there under labels. Everything is clear, the professor name, the date, everything. So what I missed, because I can see that you have YouTube links and something like questions, answers. Is that like obligatory to be done? Or this is like you did it by yourself?
This is how I did it by myself. But I did use the examples that we are given in terms of the reflection, the research, and what is the other one? The practice examples. I don't know if you've taken a moment to look at those examples that they give us at the top of every unit, of every course.
Yeah, so Rasha, as an instructor, looking at these portfolios in Unit 3 of 5910, hey, it's your portfolio. As long as it looks to me like it's usable to you here and as you leave UO people, I don't care if you put them by course number. That's what I did with my doctoral studies, and it's a mess because I don't remember what course it was. But for some people, that is how their brain works. And absolutely, it's your portfolio. So there are very few requirements other than, does this thing make some kind of sense? And when you are in Unit 3, you do a video where you're walking me through, so I have an idea of what your thinking is. And then in week 4, you share your portfolio and I just go in there and look around. So yeah, as far as requirements, none, but like Maria says, she went from, the examples, and I think the examples are very good. They're time tested and applicable. So yeah, the requirements, at least for me as an instructor, you got stuff in there.
Yeah, I understand. Thank you. Thank you, Dr. and Maria. Thank you, dear.
And Professor Wolf has my presentation as well, I believe. And if with her permission, if it's fine to share my presentation, she's more than welcome to share with everyone here who would like to see it. I don't mind. I know that it's would be really, I would have loved to have seen someone's presentation when I did it. But also, again, I know my presentation was different from other people's presentation as well. So, but it would be helpful in terms of when you're trying to build your actual, I'm trying to get it back in here. Okay. All right. It would be helpful when you're trying to actually build your portfolio. So again, what really helped me was looking at the examples, right? And making sure that I was using the correct example for the correct artifact. So if it was a research artifact, I was using the research example. If it was a reflection artifact, I was using the reflection example. But at the same time, although I believe reflection examples can tend to be very wordy, right? Because it is a reflection. So that's why I use documents instead of the actual entire text. because otherwise that portfolio is going to get really long and really complicated. And if somebody else is looking at it, they're going to be like, this is a lot. I don't want to deal with this. This is too much. And you don't want to, you know, overwhelm someone with all of that. So make it easy, and think of it like it's a library of yourself, a library of your practice, right? So if you view it like that, and keeping in mind that somebody else is going to be looking at this, then I think, you know, you're going to be on a good track. So
yeah.
So
Yeah,
what
good.
exactly
Okay,
are you saying?
Ahmed, let's see, I think it was Ahmed and then Eliada.